following program on Ada Derana 24 is classified for general audience. It is intended for all ages. It contains little or no violence, no strong language, and little or no sexual dialogue or situations. The following program contains opinions of the participants and does not reflect the views and beliefs of the Derana Media Network. The network believes in a safe space for all ideas to be expressed and on its duty to create such a platform for free speech. Viewer discretion is strictly advised. For a real view, real opinion, and for an honest conversation, it's time to Get Real with Mahieash Johnney. Tonight, coming to you from Studio 24 in Colombo.
A very good evening, everyone. Welcome back to a new episode of Get Real, where we talk to notable newsmakers here at home and abroad. And tonight, I have a special guest. He's been on the show several times in various capacities. This time around, he comes as our High Commissioner to the United Kingdom. High Commissioner Bogollagama, welcome back to the program. Good to see you. You are here for a very short visit, and I really appreciate you coming on the show and actually sharing the ideas as to what's happening between Sri Lanka and the United Kingdom and the EU at large. So welcome back to the country.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be associated once again in a show of this scale and size and respect. So thank you for inviting me over.
Appreciate that, High Commissioner. Now let's get down to business. You've just taken the helm in the United Kingdom as our representative there. How are things? How exactly is the perception towards Sri Lanka? Because we did go through an economic crisis. Lots of things that occurred since then. What exactly is the United Kingdom, the EU, the West is like feeling towards Sri Lanka at this moment?
In fact, I had the benefit and the occasions to meet up with from the head of state being His Majesty King Charles, to the Prime Minister, to the leaders of the opposition, to the Lords and to the other members of the Cabinet, members of the House of Commons, and across also the political and community leaders. What we have gone through is well recorded in the British establishment. Mm-hmm. We had a bad spell, equally a bad economic crisis, far beyond one could have ever comprehended. Yeah. But the fact that we were resilient and equally getting back into business and back to normalcy, and also I would say the financial discipline President Ranil Wickremesinghe has introduced to the system here has been acknowledged heavily and very openly. So I can share the sentiments expressed by even Lord David Cameron, who is the Foreign Secretary. On many occasions I met him. He is very pleased with the return back to normalcy and also the stabilization, both in the economic front and the political front. So these are major gains we have scored within a very short period of time. And a country like that of Great Britain, which carries a 3.2 trillion GDP annually, against a country that of ours of 80 billion US dollars, makes a huge difference in terms of size and scale. But equally, when it comes to the respect, it comes in very good measured terms and with greater respect in terms of the economic and the political leadership in the country.
United Kingdom is no stranger to Sri Lanka. We have a lot of relations, cultural relations, plus historical relations as well. But in a situation where the entire composition of the United Kingdom is changing, it's no longer that wide Britain that we usually know in the past, but now it is a hodgepodge of culture, diversity, dynamic, really new things that are taking place in that particular part of the world. How can a country like Sri Lanka, in the foray of changing our conceptualized visionary thinking here in the country, what can we learn? Because I really want to get down into the fact that what kind of business opportunities we have. But yes, before that, I want to understand the cultural changes and the opportunities that we have right now.
In fact, the very clear example of that is today Great Britain and Northern Ireland, that's how the term goes, is led by an British Indian. He is British, equally Indian origin, Rishi Sunak. And also several of the cities are led by Asian mayors, Lord Mayors, including London,
yeah.
Lord Mayor. For the second time he has been elected. Then you have the Scottish chief ministers coming from the Asian context. And with these things, I would say it has become more inclusive society of that of the Asian being recognized equal that of Sri Lankans getting recognized as well. So that there is equal opportunities being extended right across Britain, irrespective of what color or what community that you come from. But opportunities have been seized by the ones that counts, and they are doing extremely well. So that shows that hitherto the perceptions of Great Britain, maybe that if we term is totally Western, is totally white, is no longer an issue. It is today, the economy is well blended with the Asian billionaires coming into the scene there, including some of the Sri Lankans. So equally, that shows how much it has got opened up from the center west to the center east. So I would say Eastern Bloc is now in terms of wider gains in a society that had been hitherto more limited to a Western, I would say, end.
Recently, I actually saw an interview where they said that the most favorite dish in the UK is called I think chicken tikka masala. That's basically, or the butter chicken, I'm not sure, but something to do with India and our part of the world. And that is what is the most dominant dish that is being sought after by many British people right now. That itself says the changing of mentality in that country. High Commissioner, we need to know as to what kind of business ventures that you have been getting your hands wet with, because this is what one of the biggest things that you have as a responsible representative of our nation, because right now we need that economic pushback, that support, not handouts, but partnerships that will actually help us to be in a better footing economically here. And also globally as well, where we are respected as partners, not just, beggars who are asking for some money and we've been thrown at a number of pounds or something of that nature.
No, I would say with respect to the drive on the economic pursuits, I have been able to get across to the main players that counts to bring us the investments. And in this regard, even on the 13th, why I am here on a very short visit, is Dr. Selva Pankaj of Regent University. He is coming to Colombo with a proposal and for materialization of the proposal for what you term as an education platform to access all the universities in the digital form for our students here in Sri Lanka. And these are mega developments taking place because now we are following suit, like what has happened in Dubai, going in terms of the next generation, educational tools being introduced to this country. That's a concept our president has been having. He has conveyed that the interest on that so that I could realize a suitable partner for Sri Lanka in collaboration towards getting into access to the best universities in the world for our students. So that platform will get launched on the 13th with the presence of His Excellency the President. So that's one such I just cited. We also have gone in for the mineral industry, and we have signed up to the agreements for them to get now mobilized in Sri Lanka, in the eastern part of our country. We also, that is what we call capital metals are coming into the country, and that process is now gone into the final stages of implementation, which I would say we can see the operations taken off very soon. Then in the capital markets, major drive is taking place in the educational sphere, in the medical section. We are also having the collaborative effect of our top specialists from the United Kingdom joining hands with the medical profession over in Sri Lanka. I already negotiated and started talks with the SLMC in Sri Lanka and with the Royal College of Physicians and the Royal College of the associations associated with the medical leaders in the United. So that's a major area where otherwise our doctors will only keep on ending up in certain clinics in the United. But we can bring them the specialty, collaborative effect, or back into Sri Lanka. Now the President's own initiative in terms of having a collaborative, what you term as an environmentally dedicated university getting created in this. Now that from His Majesty the King Charles himself is interested in the collaborative effect of such novel ideas being materialized in this country. So a country, along with that, I'm just opening shortly in fact it's already earmarked for the next week in London, the Port City Commission, what presence over there in London.
That was exactly what I wanted to ask you. What kind of support can we get to our port city here?
Some of the people have got lighter. Now there are certain areas that we have to clear. So how long the visas are going to be validated. There are how the investment visas are going to be looked at, how much of investment criteria is to be generated out of this. So we are now talking with the establishment here with Dinesh Virakwadi and me, how we are going to get that. It's a major drive in the United Kingdom. Once I open up the replica which is being sent now to our High Commissioner.
Let's dive a little bit deep onto that. What is the red tape here? Because we do talk about the fact that there are lots of prospect investors around the world who wants to come here to Sri Lanka, but as soon as they take a look at our processes, it is such a put off for them. They don't want to get their hands wet into such a cumbersome process where, you know, nothing comes out and it is not definite and all that kind of scenario is there. So what are you hearing from that side of the story?
I think it's a way how we are going to convey the convenience for the investors. I don't think there is such a thing called major red tapes, no. But there's a comparative note here, how investors look at some of the European states who are very open for investments in today's context. The Middle Eastern states are opening up at a rate, including Saudi Arabia is opening up for investors now. Looking at Dubai's success story, Abu Dhabi, then come into the models like that of Singapore, which has gone into the third, fourth generation in the IT development in terms of investment-led pursuits, including AI that is coming into. Now, we have to target the similar segment, similar players, and equally what I would say coming in within the same bracket. So they have the information sources, they compare notes and say, okay, how fast they get their investment through, how fast the visa systems are going to work, what are the so-called protocols that they will get the benefit in terms of being secured with their investment, because it's a money power ultimately. So we have to fine-tune ourselves into that modern thinking. Okay, we are a country that is open, plug and play. We have to come into the stage of plug and play. Then there is no issue of this so-called, what we term.
Do you think we are getting there?
I think the system is well structured. Every country has its own systems, you must respect. Equally, that's how we are going to measure our investment drive. But having said that, systems are, now we have to get the players into the system. So the ones who will navigate this process through back here. Now that the Economic Commission law that has come, the comprehensive one, I think that's a far needed one that has got realized this time, so that you bring in the investment side, the commercial side, the trade side into one organization to drive Sri Lanka's economy. So it's, and also give the type of economic zones, the free trade zones, the benefit to operate in an autonomous manner so that they themselves could market and generate the drive coming to them, not one single office somewhere being able to canvas. So I think the President's thing has gone a long way. But now we have to get the, what I term, the operators to move in and get it going. So I think in a competitive world, both in the West and equally in the East, we have to look at how fast we are going to benefit out of this opportunity.
There is a sizable Sri Lankan population in the United Kingdom, as a very commanding one, so to speak. And if you take the business community of that, that is also a very sizable community there of Sri Lankan origin. what is the, I don't know whether is there an issue, but how are they feeling when you have conversations with them, of them coming back to Sri Lanka and reinvesting here? Because the way they left, if you look at the late 80s and the 90s, are not in very happy terms because of the war. Most of the Tamil community left Sri Lanka, but now they see Sri Lanka as not a place that I want to return. So how are we going to change that picture?
First thing is, we know them through trust and respect. Now, what is the role of a High Commissioner? I have understood my role having to be engagement with all sections of our communities present in the United Kingdom. First thing what I did was, I brought in all the divisions that were there under one umbrella of mine, just to get them identified as Sri Lankans living in the United Kingdom. We have got over 750,000 members of a Sri Lankan diaspora. It was not getting seen because some went on the basis of we are Sinhalese, some went on the basis of we are Tamils, and likewise the system there also recognized that division. But what I maintained was they are all Sri Lankans. So I represent all communities, all shades coming from Sri Lanka, and also I started looking at the real players within our community leaderships, in that the business ones. And I found several of them are now into the billionaire bracket in the United Kingdom, and major success stories. One of them I am bringing Dr. Silva Pankaj on the 13th to Sri Lanka. Now, why is it happening? First, the trust that we are open, we want to engage, we have respect you. The circumstances under which things have happened in the past years is a fact, but we are also committed to understand the responsibilities associated with that.
High Commissioner, before we go in for a break, if you look at the region, if you look at southern India, from the other side it's Bangladesh, from this side part of Africa, all these countries are providing very competitive business proposals to attract investors into their country. You gave two examples prior as well, but they are, let's say, super dominant at the moment, Dubai and Singapore on both sides. Is Sri Lanka competitive enough for us to attract that bracket that you're talking about, even our very own?
Yes, of course, we have the best of location advantage than any other country can come on. First, the location comes first, along with the policy of the country. So I think this is what our President has understood so well with this long-term experience comes in these areas of responsibilities he has held. In that context, I am happy to say that we are well positioned, well connected in terms of generating the policy that suits the investor thinking and liking. So towards that, let us take this country. So we need not be very negative in terms of how we are going to approach. We have to be extremely positive in terms of how we are going to get our strengths across to the countries or to the investors that comes first to us. So I think that's how we have to play our system, and also go up skip one generation and go to the next generation of IT development and AI straight away.
Indeed, let's take a short commercial break. I'm in conversation with the Sri Lankan High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Rohitha Bogollagama. We'll be right back. The Sri Lankan High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Rohitha Bogollagama, is here with me tonight. We've been talking about Sri Lanka's prospects in the United Kingdom and that part of the world, and of course where we can harness the best for this country. High Commissioner, one of the things that I really want to talk about, and you just touched about it prior, because this particular conversation keeps coming, like I think since the time we ended the war, from the time that you were the foreign minister back then. It is about this Sri Lanka, the diaspora that is supporting the LTTE per se. If you look at the conversations that is occurring in the younger generation, the younger part, I think like the third generation who after leaving Sri Lanka, they have this notion saying that Sri Lanka is a place where Tamils get butchered and murdered. It is a place where Sri Lankan Sinhalese per se, basically there's genocide. This is the mental picture that has been given, I don't know by whom, but that is what these youngsters believe, and they have no intention of coming to this part of the world or actually understanding. There is no bridge that is trying to bring them together so that they can understand, well, that is a bunch of hogwash BS that is being put into them by certain interested parties who wants to get their support for their cause. How do you tackle that? Because as the High Commissioner, you have to look into this as well. We can't just omit them because they are also a crucial part, because they are driving a very wrong narrative in that part of the world. How are you addressing that?
So in fact, that's one of my fundamental responsibilities, to ensure that Sri Lanka's profile is getting well represented across in the United Kingdom. What do we mean by Sri Lankan profile? We are a sovereign state. We are an independent country. We have a democratic system of government. We have got the responsibilities, the sovereignty of the people enshrined in the Constitution. Now, how do we manage this profile right across to the acceptance of a foreign host country? Now, the United Kingdom had been a major player in the lives of our country since 1795, since the time they first stepped into this country. They know us well. Equally, we have got 750,000 Sri Lankans now today making the United Kingdom as their home country. As their home country. They are living in that country. So they have a major influence. They come to bear on the electoral system of the United Kingdom, being first past post country where they select their members of parliament. Now, what is the message? They give it to the establishment, to the parliament, to the House of Commons, and through that to the cabinet of ministers. That we are a country that must get respected, yes. How do we get our respect across? We have to be equal to everybody. We have to have a certain amount of responsibilities for whatever actions that have taken place in the past. Yes, we have to answer to these issues. That is part and parcel of our responsibilities getting discharged. In doing that, how do I get that into the extra mile in terms of explaining these issues? I had to have the support of the community first. And getting the support of the community, you had to demonstrate how well Sri Lanka is positioned now, sir, to meet their expectation back in Sri Lanka. No point in talking. And towards that, I had the strength of our president, who is now navigating through a period of reconciliation, well, and get that across into a more, I would say, action-oriented programs, which has started taking place.
High Commissioner, there still is a component in that part of the world who believes on a separate state. And they are very vocal about it. They say that separate state is the only way for Sri Lanka to proceed, and they are basically believing in the dead dreams of Velupilla Prabhakaran. But in a situation like that, what can we say to change their mindset? Let's forget about the ones who left, but let's talk about the youngsters at least.
Who are there.
Who are there.
But
and
I would say, I don't think it is coming in that way, that in terms of asking for separatism. It is coming in terms of asking for justice, asking for security, asking for their rights in terms of a Sri Lankan community that is now living outside Sri Lanka. They also have their equal rights to be measured, and equal rights comes in terms of both equality and equity. And in that regard, we have to be answerable to those perceptions having to be well conveyed to them, how we are looking at these issues. And towards that, we have already started a dialogue, which I would term need to be kept still under wraps for the sake of my having to see that we get into the correct channels of operation, correct channels of operation. That's what I mean. We can't just overnight say everything is rosy-dotty, but we need to see that we take every word that we are going to speak with greater responsibility in terms of maintaining our word of honor, so that this is a country we are representing, not an individual.
In the political system, you mentioned about the fact that how they are impacting the local electorate in that country and pushing those leaders in order to do certain things. And we've seen that at the UNHRC, where a lot of resolutions have become part and parcel of what that diaspora is requesting for. How do you address that to the political arm of the United Kingdom when you meet them saying, look here, we are also a sovereign nation. You can't be just saying for the sake of saying it just because you want to secure votes in your electorate. There should be some kind of credible dialogue that occurs.
So I think now the strategic dialogue between United Kingdom and us at the ministerial level has started, which is now not of today, but it is now going on. The recent discussions were in Colombo. Last time it was in the United Kingdom. Annually we are discussing some of these areas in the agenda. On the political understanding that we have to reach out. First it comes in terms of how well United Kingdom is going to be part of our drive to explain matters and engage with the issues that have been virtually sometimes ignored, sometimes wanting to take without any serious note. But we have now conveyed every issue that matters to our communities is ones that matter to us most importantly, equally in terms of responsibility. That is why we have found many visits are now taking place between the United Kingdom and us. The Princess Anne's visit recently in January, since I went, has been a significant relationship built up, because unless we have the closest relationship, they won't be posting people of the highest level of representation to visit a country. So now we are working on that score in terms of bilateral. On the multilateral platform, we are bringing the Commonwealth into focus as a driving force for us to get further engaged. Because the Commonwealth has one thing in common. One thing most importantly, is the King of Great Britain is the head of the Commonwealth. So they take it very closely. Our role also vis-a-vis that of the Commonwealth makeup. So we are a founding member states. I am now in the governing council of the Commonwealth as Sri Lanka's High Commissioner. I sometimes get invited to chair some of the sub-panels as well. So that shows we are getting more and more into the system. And that is with respect, they get us involved, associated with that. The Geneva factor that you raised is, in fact, Great Britain is a co-sponsor of this resolution. So I'm trying to see that we are now having a progressive trajectory that we can articulate in terms of what we have been doing towards achieving their own expectation, without saying that, oh, you are looking at differently. No, we have to say, look at how we are looking at matters and progressing accordingly. So I think the progressive note is something I am canvassing more and more.
One of the things that there's always been raised is the fact that how much we are focusing on developing Sri Lanka, yes, but this focus is being channeled towards parts like Colombo, or certain key areas, but we've completely forgotten and omitted the Jaffna Peninsula and that part of our nation. There is a lot of linkages, like family members, cultural links in the United Kingdom. Most of the diaspora that is there, they have family here in the north. Why can't we get them to support that particular part of our nation rather than focusing everything in Colombo?
So I think it's happening now. Equally, for them to move in terms of real-term investments to the north, which we are driving, for them to take the initiatives in the private sector investment-led growth for the northern part of Sri Lanka. In doing that, we need a comprehensive engagement of the key players having to come to respect what we are doing overall here. There are certain elements that we have to still keep on addressing to get that confidence, and we need to know their hearts and minds by the investors over there who are coming from the northern communities. So that is now coming. In fact, I would showcase the development on the 13th of this month with Dr. Selva Pankaj's presence here. He is one of the Eastern members of the community, Tamil member, lead in education, is a great developer in the United Kingdom, who has raised the ranks and levels at the highest level of the financial status, and highly respected in the British establishment, even at Downing Street. So we have been able to pick such people now. So I think that is the opening of the trend. Similarly, there are ones who have done extremely well in the health sector, that I invited them more to the northern and the eastern parts of Sri Lanka as well. We had to get certain policy adjustments, visa regulations, etc., sorted out in the meantime.
High Commissioner, I think the most damage in terms of human rights and in terms of resolutions that came against Sri Lanka, I think you remember very more than me, is when the Labour Party was in power. Tony Blair was not a fan of Sri Lanka. He was very much pushing towards a certain part of, for us to cave in. That was the message that I took. But then again, you saw consecutively, like even David Cameron, not David Cameron, but a certain part of the Labour Party, they've been not exactly forthcoming like the Conservative Party, engaging with Sri Lanka on a positive note. They were very on a very how can I say, hostile approach. Now, we are going towards elections. The United Kingdom is going towards election, and the opinion poll showcases that the Labour Party might come back to power. So in a situation where, let's say, hypothetically, if a government changes, all your efforts in talking to a certain government and establishing is going to go down the drain, because there's going to be a new party in power. Are you systematically doing that with the new party as well, and trying to get them to understand this is what Sri Lanka is now, and it's not the so-called Sri Lanka that they knew so much years back?
In fact, my being a politician myself, and have been trained in politics for a very long time, have given me the answers in dealing with political makeups, establishments in foreign countries as well. In every country, in a democracy, government and equal the opposition, which we term as the government in waiting, counts a lot. My task had been engage. Even the time I was foreign minister, whenever I used to engage with the government, I had called on the opposition as well. That's as a matter of practice, tradition, and it is more so in the Westminster system of governments. And in that, today's government is tomorrow's opposition is today sitting in the cabinet. Yeah. And it is happening in a very systematic manner in the most developed and the western parts of the world. So today you may be the Prime Minister, next day you just walk out of it and be watching a cricket match at the Lodge. So that's the type of practices that have been there. So I have been always having my approaches done believing in all accounts, and no one should be kept out in the system of engagement.
What is the perception of the Labour Party in your discussion?
Overall, I would say that in a democracy, a lot of things the people counts first, and people speak when it comes to elections. As you indicated in terms of polls, have shown certain trends. But overall, I would say they are very competent. Two major parties, Conservatives, have an established track record, led by a very promising young leader. Equally, Labour has its own strengths in terms of what they have been doing with great leaders like that of Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, and now today Starmer. So British politics is a bowl of experienced being taken forward. So that's where everyone has a good choice coming for the electorate. Who may they pick? I think they comes to the benefit of their electorate. It's
going to be a very interesting watch from that entire part of the world, because apparently last night even France declared an election that is going to occur in the 30th of June, a very short period for campaigning. because of the simple fact that this right-wing narrative is taking precedent there. So let's see, wait and see what exactly happened in the United Kingdom. I'm going to take a short commercial break. I'm in conversation with the Sri Lankan High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Rohitha Bogollagama. We'll be right back. I'm in conversation with the Sri Lankan High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Rohitha Bogollagama. We've been talking a lot of things that is occurring in the United Kingdom, spearheaded by the High Commissioner himself. High Commissioner, you were in the Foreign Service for a very long period of time. You were our Foreign Minister quite a number of times. I also want to get your take in certain dynamics that's occurring in this part of the world. If you look at India, now Narendra Modi's third term began. Sri Lanka got a very good place, a position, the president per se, Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe, he got the first invitation to come and see the events unfolding in India, and even if you look at the visuals that was coming out from India, looks like he was getting a good position. How do you analyze this? I mean, we can capitalize on this.
In fact, today I think he's the most senior head of state in South Asia, President Ranil Wickremesinghe. He's entry into being the head of administration in 1994. No one has that score of being Prime Minister in 1994, and today head of state is still in 2024. What a long run. So with that, equally, he was given the pride of place at the Rashtrapati Bhavan ceremonies associated with the inauguration of the third term for President Narendra Modi. So I think he got it out of his own merit in terms of being taken as a senior statesman in South Asia. I'm so happy that Sri Lanka has now got back into world stage, and world stage counts begin with your home neighborhood, and you are come on top there. So I think that's a major plus factor that we have seen, and the association coming from the BJP third term administration for Sri Lanka again. Having been a foreign minister myself, I see the value in terms of being close to your neighbors, and it itself opens up a major horizon in terms of your bilaterals and equally the opportunity that comes out of the strengths in the economies of South Asia, and in particular in India, and also within the Indian southern states, like that of Tamil Nadu, that is going to be $1 trillion state in terms of its GDP shortly. So we are now looking at major platforms getting created within the region, and with that, leadership of our country's president counts a lot towards getting that approaches and equal the access to these locations. So I think this visit particularly symbolizes not only the optics, but the substance that the visit has brought about to Sri Lanka.
Let me ask you this question as well. You are also a career politician. Now, we have heard this sentiment for quite some time, where we say we can harness, we can capitalize, we can get all these kinds of things, and especially there have been very golden opportunities like this in the history where we could have actually turned it into an economic renaissance here in the country. Did not happen. What do you think we should be doing right now? Because we are also going for an election. Apparently, that is what the Constitution says, but then the conversations are, rampant about the fact that it could be postponed, whatever. That is the decision of the President and the Elections Commission. But what I'm trying to say is, how can we really tangibly bring this situation which we've created bounce back very quickly after a massive economic crisis? You by yourself just said that is being very much respected in the western part of the world. We are getting a good standing with our regional neighbors. Bangladesh Prime Minister was also accorded with President Ranil Wickremesinghe, and they also had very good relations. Bangladesh has helped us during the financial crisis. They were really there for us. So in a situation like that, how can we turn this around and ensure that there is continuity here? Because if you look at the political side of things here in Sri Lanka, I know your answer is not going to be against what is being stated. President Ranil Wickremesinghe still has a lot of challenge in becoming the president if there is a presidential election again. He has to drive the narrative very strongly where the people here believes that he actually can change what we need to change. How do you see this? I understand that you cannot be critical, but as a sitting High Commissioner, but what do you think that we actually have to do to understand that economy is key right now, and Sri Lanka can't deviate or come out of this progress we've made thus far, and that is in credit to everyone, from the people of Sri Lanka to the leaders of Sri Lanka and every single person who actually put them aside. I personally don't believe the IMF route, but then there are a lot of people who believes that. So in a situation like that, what do you think that we have to continuously do? I'm asking this as a seasoned politician.
So I would say, I would look at that Sri Lanka's electorate is a very mature electorate. People, we have had the benefit of our universal franchise been exercised nearly 100 years throughout. And with these experiences, I am sure the electorate is wise in taking their type of decisions that counts for the betterment of this country. So this is their entitlement, that they are right. And as the political establishment, I am sure everyone here has to navigate these options at a time of an election, which I equally believe all political makeups in this country, whatever parties they may belong to, will be doing that operation. What you term is an election, these are what campaigns are about. See how well India played their roles. Everyone thought it will be a bit of a high-end return for the incumbency. It was not to happen, but still incumbency is back in office with the widest possible broader alliances being formed. So it can happen in politics, and it's again a way forward, as the BJP has termed it. That's how democracies are working. So we are no exception to that possibilities. So let's see how Sri Lanka is going to figure out. But overall, what we have come, the trajectory.
What do you think the voters need to be thinking right now? I know we are talking about the economy, but tangibly what?
No, they have to think in terms of stability for the country. How can the stability be retained and go from that? Without stability, to get back into this so-called element of stability is quite a long haul. So might as well people will be looking at stability for any country. We need stable countries, and then the world comes to respect you as well. So I think that's how things are. I think we need not teach who the voters too much, because they are a wise lot.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so. High Commissioner, thank you very much. We are running out of time. Thank you very much, High Commissioner, for taking the time in this very short visit that you came to Sri Lanka, coming on the show and speaking to us exactly the progress you made thus far in the United Kingdom on behalf of Sri Lanka. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, that's all the time we have for you tonight. On a programming note, just to let you know that Get Real is taking a break, and we will be back again in August at a new time slot. We will inform you very much prior as to what will happen, on which day we will be back. So thank you very much for being with us all throughout this season. I'll see you back again in August, or might be before that on another show. Let's wait and see. I'm Mahieash Johnney. Have a good night.
Let's make it amazing. I love you, baby, no, that ain't changing. You got somebody who loves you. You got somebody who loves you. Wake me up, you're the caffeine in my coffee cup, and like a shooting star you light me up. Amazing, you're amazing. 'Cause we all need somebody, even lonely hearts need somebody. So before this love leaves your body, give it away, So if you got somebody, let them know that they got somebody. Little love never hurt nobody. So you use your light and shine it like crazy. We got one life, let's make it amazing. I love you, babe, you know that ain't changing. You got somebody who loves you. You got somebody who loves you.